She isn't asking. She isn't complaining. She isn't reacting. She's watching. Silent. Calculating. That soft smile, a mask. That gentle voice, a weapon. Her calm, a cloak that conceals something sharper than steel. Behind her sweetness is strategy, relentless, surgical, cold. Every movement, every pause, every carefully timed glance is an invisible tripwire laid at your feet. You don't see them, but they are everywhere. And the instant you step wrong, she knows exactly what kind of man you are. Understand this: women do not test with words. They test with silence. They test with shadows. With subtle shifts in tone, with pauses that stretch just long enough to pry into your nerves. With requests that seem innocent but carry the weight of judgment. They do not want answers. They want to see collapse. To see if you crumble under the illusion of choice. Because this is the game of power. And Machiavelli knew it well: the weak man obeys commands, while the powerful man bends reality. Women do not want to lead, though they will if you fail. They want to know whether they stand beside a man who rules his own world, who commands the flow of reality itself, or whether they must seize control because he cannot. Here is the brutal paradox of your romantic life: you think you're building connection, but she's dissecting weakness. You think you're flirting, but she's measuring how desperate you are to please. You think it's love, but she's scanning your psychological fortress, hunting for cracks. She doesn't care about your jokes, your stories, your flowers. She cares about your structure. She cares about whether you are a king, or a servant dressed as one. Machiavelli's truth is merciless: love is currency, fear is stability, and respect is not granted freely. It must be manufactured, weaponized, defended with precision. If you want her respect, her loyalty, her surrender, then you must master the psychological battlefield. Today, I will drag you into that battlefield. Today, I will show you how to win the silent war. Through 5 escalating scenarios, I will teach you exactly how women test your power, not to destroy you, but to weigh you. To see whether you are strong enough to dominate her world, or whether you are just another man who will betray himself for the comfort of her approval. Each scenario will be dissected through the ruthless lens of Machiavelli: never beg, never plead, never let kindness precede respect, and never allow your need to outweigh your presence. This is not about cruelty. This is about command. About dominance. About legacy. And it begins here. The interruption test. You're locked in. Focused. You're deep in the trenches, building, creating, leading, thinking with precision. Your energy is sharpened like a blade. Your mind is operating at full capacity, immersed in your mission. And then, she arrives. She doesn't strike when you're idle. She doesn't wait until you're relaxed. She waits until you are in flow. Until you are in power. That's when she steps into your world, body soft, eyes bright, voice dripping with sweetness, and says the words that seem harmless but are laced with venom. Hey, babe, can you do me a quick favor? Carry this upstairs. Look at this real quick. Make a call for me. Harmless. Innocent. But it's not the favor that matters, it's the timing. It's surgical. She wants to see if her voice can pierce your armor. If her need can pull you off mission. If her smile can dethrone you from the kingdom of focus. This is dominance testing, disguised as kindness. Because evolution hardwired this test. The man who controls his attention controls the tribe. The man who can be pulled off course by softness cannot be trusted with leadership. She knows this instinctively. If your focus crumbles for her, then your frame is weak. And if your frame is weak, her respect for you begins to rot. The weak man fails immediately. He smiles, eager, grateful for the chance to be useful. He shuts the laptop, rises instantly, drops everything. Of course, babe. In his mind, this is love. This is partnership. This is being a good man. But in her subconscious, something ancient whispers a darker truth: collapse. The king abandoned his throne because the queen waved her hand. He surrendered command. He proved that her whims overrule his discipline. And if her whims can shatter his focus, how can his strength endure against life's storms? She thanks him. She may kiss him. But inside, attraction corrodes. He has become compliant, available, replaceable, a servant in his own kingdom. The predator responds differently. The predator doesn't flinch. She makes her request, and he remains still. His eyes don't dart. His voice doesn't shift. His presence doesn't bend. He breathes, holds, and says, without apology, without guilt, "I'll help you in 10 minutes. I'm focused right now." Firm, direct, absolute. That is Machiavellian. Because it communicates one thing: I govern my world. My mission rules my attention. My attention rules my reality. And you will not bend it at will. He is not cruel. He is not cold. But he is immovable. And in that firmness, she feels something electric. Structure. The silent gravity of a man who cannot be shifted by affection. And that, more than love, ignites respect. Machiavelli was right: better to be feared than loved, if one cannot be both. But the deeper truth is this: when a man commands his presence with ruthless discipline, her love bends naturally toward him. Because women do not want to steer the ship. They want to be swept away by the storm of a man who knows his heading and refuses to drift. The silence test. She asks a question. Innocent. Light. Maybe even playful. You answer. And then, silence. She stares. Smiles. Holds. Just long enough for you to start doubting yourself. This is the silence test. It's not about the question. It's about the void. She's measuring whether you can sit inside the void of her silence without scrambling to fill it. Weak men cannot. They panic. They fumble. They over-explain. They bend themselves into knots trying to resecure her smile. But the predator doesn't flinch. He doesn't rush. He lets the silence expand like a predator lets prey twitch in a snare. He breathes inside it. He looks back at her, unblinking, unbothered. Because he knows this, silence is not empty. Silence is dominance. And the one who controls silence, controls the frame. The emotional hook. She withdraws. Subtly. She sighs. She acts distant. Not overtly hostile, but just detached enough to pull on your instinct to chase. Weak men collapse here. They rush in, apologize, try to repair something that was never broken. They hand her the reins by showing they cannot endure her distance. But the predator? He doesn't chase. He doesn't crumble. He lets her pull away. He watches. And when she finally circles back, he remains unbothered, anchored, immovable. And in that immovability, she finds what she truly craves: a man who cannot be manipulated by her storms. The innocent request for sacrifice. It comes wrapped in sugar. Sweet. Harmless. Can you skip your gym today? Just stay with me. Can you push that meeting? I want more time together. Innocent on the surface, but beneath, a dagger. This is not about the request. It's about whether your discipline is negotiable. Whether your routines, your commitments, your empire can be rearranged for her whim. Weak men fold. They trade their rituals for her smile. They sacrifice their discipline to secure peace. And in that trade, they rot. Because she no longer sees him as a man of structure, but as a man of compromise. And compromise is the slow poison of attraction. The predator answers differently, no. I have work. I'll see you after. Calm. Sharp. Non-negotiable. His structure remains. His kingdom does not bend. And in that resistance, she feels the thrill of standing beside something immovable. The crisis test. This is the final test. The storm. She escalates. Maybe anger. Maybe tears. Maybe accusations. The weak man panics, he explains, defends, grovels, apologizes for crimes he never committed. He collapses under her storm. But the predator? He does not bend. He does not flinch. He listens, steady. He speaks little. His eyes remain calm. His frame remains absolute. Because he knows storms pass. And when they do, she will remember one thing: his spine never moved. Women test not to destroy you, but to weigh you. To see if you are king or servant. To see if your spine is steel or glass. If you collapse, she will not hate you. She will not scream. She will simply stop desiring you. Slowly. Quietly. Irreversibly. But if you stand firm, if you bend reality instead of bending for approval, then she feels what every woman secretly craves, the terror and thrill of surrendering to a man she cannot move. Machiavelli was right: fear before love. Respect before affection. Power before compromise. Because when you are feared, respected, immovable, then, and only then, will her love bend itself around your gravity. This is the war of presence. The war of frame. The war of manhood. Win it, and she will follow you into fire. Lose it, and you will spend your life serving a queen who never saw you as king. The predator's counterattack: how to turn her tests into weapons of control. You've seen how women test. You've seen how they slice at your focus, how they bury tripwires in silence, how they push at your spine searching for collapse. That is their nature: strategic, relentless, unconscious warfare. But a king does not only defend his castle. A predator does not only dodge the hunter's snare. He flips the game. He bends the battlefield. He makes her the one walking into traps she cannot see. If you want to rule a woman's desire, you cannot only pass her tests, you must reverse them. You must turn her inspection into obsession. Her scrutiny into submission. This is the predator's counterattack. Step 1. Own the silence. Her silence is a weapon. She stares. She waits. She lets the moment hang heavy. The weak man buckles. He rushes to explain, to fill the void, to keep her smile alive. But you weaponize silence against her. Hold her eyes. Say nothing. Let the void expand until she feels the weight of it. Until she is the one scrambling to break it. You must teach her biology that silence belongs to you. That stillness bends to your gravity. The one who controls silence controls the frame. And the one who controls the frame controls the woman. Step 2. Redirect the test. She asks the loaded question. Would you do this for me? Why don't you? Weak men answer directly, falling into the trap. But a predator doesn't answer, he redirects. She asks if you'd sacrifice. You smirk. You tilt your head. You reply, "Why do you want to know?" The frame flips instantly. Now she is the one exposed. Now she is the one defending. Your refusal to be pulled into her structure forces her into yours. Understand this: questions are levers. Weak men let women use them. Strong men grab the lever and force it back into her hands. Step 3: Manufacture scarcity. Nothing destroys a woman's hunger faster than a man who is always available. Nothing electrifies her veins faster than a man she cannot fully catch. Weak men chase, text constantly, rearrange their lives for her. The predator makes her chase him. He disappears into his mission. He lets her feel the cold absence of his attention. He makes her wonder where he is, what he's doing, who he's bending his presence toward. Scarcity is oxygen to desire. Give it freely, and she suffocates on boredom. Take it away, and she claws for your air. Step 4: Introduce uncertainty. Certainty is comfort. Uncertainty is addiction. When she knows your every move, every word, every thought, she relaxes. But relaxed women do not burn. They do not ache. They do not crave. You must inject mystery. You must keep her guessing. A look that suggests you know more than you say. A smirk that hints at secrets she cannot access. A refusal to answer every question directly. She must feel she is chasing a shadow, close enough to touch, but never fully hers. Because addiction does not come from comfort. Addiction comes from uncertainty. Step 5: Orchestrate emotional whiplash. This is the most ruthless weapon of all. The weak man is predictable, always sweet, always kind, always agreeable. Predictability breeds contempt. The predator bends reality through contrast. Commanding one moment, tender the next. Ruthless today, indulgent tomorrow. She never knows which version she'll face. And that uncertainty ties her psychology in knots. Because the human brain does not crave safety, it craves intensity. She must feel the rush of not knowing whether you'll pull her closer or push her back. That tension is the drug. That tension is what binds her to you. The final lesson. You've learned how women test. You've learned how to hold frame, how to resist collab.